Good morning. Welcome to the Barrel Newscast for May 12th, 2017.
Today on the newscast, Deadpool news.
We've got a new Hellboy movie news.
Alan Wake news.
And The Secret World game is coming out. We'll tell you more about it.
Right after this. Uh-oh. There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Barrel Roll Newscast.
He's Tony.
He's Nick.
That's it. That's it today.
Just the two.
We're running a little low on people.
This is OG. What are you talking about?
This is OG. This
is
the original.
Like this is it.
Yeah. Oh, we're
That's okay. It's the internet.
there.
The internet will catch up. It is.
The internet will catch up. Yeah, no, this is the original pair.
Yes.
Back together. Although, if you look back at our videos, Graham joined us very quickly.
Yes, because he had nothing to do.
And then...
really?
Really. And then...
Chris a little... No, Chris came first, didn't he?
No. Our videos originally had Brian in them first.
I
think Brian came in for like one episode, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what they did other than... Well, obviously, here.
Yes, that was it. Well, yeah, back then we were the only ones writing articles. Graham tried writing some articles. But yeah, for the most part, it was just the show.
This is it.
So yeah, just the two of us today. You're stuck with us. Now we are reporting what you're going to be watching. If you're watching Saturday,
that's what it's
not live.
We're doing that thing in showbiz.
We're pre-filming because
this is what the famous people do. This is popular things.
We have some pretty busy people on this weekend, and unless you wanted to watch Nick
just
alone by himself sitting at a large... I was going to sit there.
What you should have done is just had a Photoshop and just have yourself talking to yourself.
No, it's like, what do you think, Tony? And it's like, well, Nick. Just start doing
just do everyone
voices for every
and then you can do Graham by just not being here.
But I was gonna sit there and just stare at the camera for a bit and be like, well,
stuff happened.
This is what's happening this week.
That's the one thing I don't understand why people if you're gonna do a podcast, don't do a solo podcast. That's super awkward and also super short. Because you have no one to bounce off of.
No, it would have to be a very scripted kind of thing where,
and then at that point, it doesn't feel...
It's not a podcast anymore. It's now
a news segment.
It is. It's a news segment. And we don't do the Barrel Roll News anymore. We do the newscast.
We've evolved.
Well, we just finally...
moved on.
The news was,
News has evolved itself.
News you can get anywhere.
News has also evolved itself.
This kind of thought-provoking conversation you can only get here at the Barrel Roll
News
Network.
Live.
Technically, if you're watching right now, it's live.
That's what, yes, you should always do.
Yes.
If possible.
Either way, shall we talk about the news this week?
Let's get into some of the stuff.
All right, so movie news. Yes, movie and then game news. Look, we actually went and ordered this week. Good for us. We're organized.
Yes.
Deadpool's coming to TV.
He's getting his own cartoon.
I'm
super excited for this. FXX is picking him up. Honestly, can you think of another network to do a Deadpool anything? I can't think. Maybe HBO is too nitty gritty, realistic.
They do actual
ABC
shows. I don't think HBO would do a cartoon.
No, and that's another thing. Honestly, he's going to be basically airing next to Archer, which, let's be honest, could basically be Deadpool.
Well, and from what I've read, it's the people who do Archer.
Well, isn't Donald Glover?
Donald Glover's apparently attached as a creator or something.
Which super weird. First of all, his resume is just super awkward.
Very weird. And then, Donald Glover's attached, and apparently the animation studio that does Archer is doing the animation for Deadpool.
Either way.
And I'm just like,
okay,
all right.
I can't see.
Go wrong.
Yeah, like
shape or form.
Yeah, like literally, like this is the best thing that could probably happen.
Yep.
And FXX is probably the best network.
FXX, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially when you look at Archer. I mean,
I still haven't watched Dreamland.
I haven't watched any of Dreamland yet.
It's all on my hard drive somewhere, but
I gotta watch Dreamland.
I feel like it's a show that you'd have to like back to back watch.
That's what I always do with Archer.
It's too short to watch a single episode at a time, but it's not.
A lot of the in the recent seasons, they actually made a story that progressed through the entire
the latter seasons, especially Archer Vice. It started with Archer Vice.
Archer Vice really carried through. It was like something happened at the end of the show, and then all of a sudden it was like doom, and you're like, oh
or it's
man.
Or it's like, how much drugs did Pam eat this time?
Well, but like it would end, and you'd go like, oh man, now I have to watch next week's.
Yes. So, either way, super excited that Deadpool's getting his own thing again.
Yep.
Like, if the intro of this is like, yes, I'm in a movie and a cartoon, like nothing could get better than this.
I'm on TV, bitches. Yeah, no, so I'm excited.
Yes, and the fact that it's on as a cartoon and not the movies, that means they can take a little bit more liberties with characters.
For sure.
So that's like, now Captain America's in here for reasons. Or it's like Deadpool fighting.
And that's now hopefully Disney's not super like, we don't want him on a like adultish type show.
Okay, to be fair, like they knew the properties that they were buying.
Yes.
They should know the limits of this character. I mean, look at the movie itself.
Well, no, but not Deadpool himself being there. Like, okay, whatever, because we get Deadpool, but
oh yeah, in terms of like
having Captain America on there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like.
And you know what? If you look at the past record with Deadpool as a cartoon, like he did really, really well in the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was he, like 2 or 3 episodes in the
show?
And
the only problem with that is then you have all these kids who all of a sudden go like, Deadpool's awesome, and then the movie comes out, and it's like, you can't see it. Yeah, like, yeah.
Adult jokes, blood.
Like, you cannot see this film, but even they put Deadpool into Lego games, and it was the same thing. Or, like, they kept fitting Deadpool into all this stuff for kids, and then they're like, kids, you can no longer like Deadpool because he is now, like, an adult movie, which is fine, because he is.
That's I would expect no less.
But now this cartoon show is going to come out, and I think that's going to confuse some people.
Well, if they're good parents...
Yes, they will watch stuff before they let their... Yes.
And hopefully it being on FXX
gives them a hint.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it wasn't edgy enough as it is.
But I think there's enough people too now with like these Android boxes and all this stuff where they're just like, oh, a Deadpool show, click.
Yeah, it's like the movie did very well. Mm-hmm. Let's watch this instead. And it'll probably be good. Mm-hmm. But again, watch what your kids watch, or make sure you be a parent in that regards.
Someone was like, Ryan Reynolds for voice, or I'm not watching.
Doesn't matter. No,
I feel like as long as they get a decent voice. Like, Nolan North did a good job in the video game.
Honestly, you could probably even get Troy Baker. Like, he's a pretty good voice actor in and of itself.
Yep.
Himself, rather. Like,
watch, they'll get, what's his name, who does Archer and Bob. And he'll do the exact same voice.
I'd be totally okay with that. Or just like have an awkward scene where Archer's just in there, like straight up Deadpool cross Archer crossover.
Oh my god!
Archer is now confirmed for Marvel's Cinematic Universe.
Oh my god, it has to be done. That'd be amazing. But yeah, Deadpool. I mean, we don't have a lot of info yet, so
this kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, it's tough to really judge a lot of this stuff as of right now.
I wonder how long it's been in like the pot. You gotta imagine like it's been in a while for.
I'm assuming since the movie at least came out. Because the movie surprised a lot of people. I don't know why, but it did well.
It's like they read the comics.
Huh. It's like they made a semi-accurate comic book movie.
Yes.
And again, like Deadpool's character's changed over the years.
He's gotten a little bit moral.
Well, he's gotten zanier and he's gotten crazier, and that's where they went with the movie.
Yeah.
But like some people are like, well, he's not the original Deadpool, and you're like, can we leave like the '80s behind, please?
Yeah.
Like the Deadpool we know now is this Deadpool. Like the Deadpool that actually got popular is
There's a reason why he's popular.
Yeah. He's not just Deathstroke in Marvel. He's his own guy. Mm-hmm. So
hopefully this pans out well. I'm super excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think...
So far, all the connections we know about excite me.
I'm still confused about Donald Glover.
I'm also confused about him, but I think after, what was it, Atlanta?
Yeah.
Like, I think showing that he can do, like, a kind of gritty comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, dig deep and kind of...
And I'll be honest, like, there's no way that he took this on to not be Spider-Man for an episode.
Oh.
Just have random Miles Morales come in.
But that's the thing, like, he is a nerd enough guy where it's not worrying me going, like, Donald Glover's just deciding to, like...
No, he knows his...
He knows his comics, so yeah, that's...
And at the very least, he knows pop culture, like, to a T, too.
Right.
Like, I think he knows what's hip in the world. Like, that's totally... He knows it.
Get him and Danny Pudi together for an episode.
I don't know what character Danny Pudi would play.
Anyone. Abed.
Abed. Troy and Abed and Deadpool.
Okay. More movie news that we really don't know much about.
Well, I mean...
We know more.
Okay, well, this had been on the back burner for a long, long time. But I think what is surprising people more is what are the consequences of this happening. So the Hellboy sequel, threequel, whatever you want to call it.
Third movie.
Everyone's been wanting a third movie for a long time. Mm-hmm. Guillermo del Toro tried.
And recently we reported on that.
And Ron Perlman also is still down for it. Well, the Hellboy movie is coming back as a reboot.
Yep. Without either one.
Without either one of those two people. I don't know.
And as a rated R film.
Yes. I don't. And keep in mind, this is a reboot, not like a third one. So they can get away with different directorial stuff. They can get away with not Ron Perlman, Hellboy.
Mike Mignola, the guy who does the comics, is actually attached to this one too.
So, like, it's the takeaway is there's more Hellboy coming.
There is more Hellboy coming,
but
the director is from Game of Thrones, so not something we can talk about. Clearly, that show does well, though.
Sure.
And the guy playing Hellboy, who once I finally looked at the picture, I was like, "Yep, we're good," because I wanted to make sure it was him.
I think before then I'd like to hear some more of his like voice sampling stuff. Like when I think Hellboy, I think like not brute. Well, obviously broody, but like a deep voice.
Yeah.
Right.
We just gotta watch more Stranger Things, apparently.
Oh, is he in Stranger Things? Oh, is it the sheriff from Stranger? Okay, done. Okay, never mind. If it's him, I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold.
That's what I said too, because they announced his name, and I'm like, I don't recognize that name. They're getting like who to play Hellboy, and then they're like from Stranger Things, and I'm like, if it is not the sheriff,
I can't think. It is 11. It's just 11. 11. Actually, I'd still watch that. That could be
Kid Hellboy.
Baby Hellboy.
Baby
as
Hellboy.
As a girl.
Well, really, once all the makeup's on.
Hellgirl.
Once all the makeup's on. It's not like she talks.
No. No, if it's that dude.
It's him.
I'm hoping his name will become more...
He was so good in Stranger Things.
He was honestly my favorite character, other than... I'm trying to think of other people who was my favorite, but I think he stands out.
And I mean, the kids
character.
As an ensemble did really well together.
Yeah.
But he
put a lot of the human element of an adult
so
element.
I mean we've talked about Stranger Things a lot before, but when he first showed up, I was very much like, oh, another dim-witted sheriff who's gonna, not care.
And I think that was
he's gonna die within like the first 2 episodes or something.
Or it's like
that
he's gonna he won't have any character development. No.
Or he's going to arrest all the wrong people and not give like 2, and then all of a sudden it was like episode 3, and all of a sudden
character development.
Yeah, and you're going, oh.
Like, there's reasons why I want him to succeed now.
It's like, I hope they win. Like, he's actually listening to people. And
he's not just a drunk idiot.
Yeah, and you're going, oh, man. And I mean, so yeah, he was such a good actor in that, where I'm sitting there going, him as Hellboy. I'm like, because he's got the right.
And you know what? They can always touch it up with a little costuming, right?
This is a big body mask, or a big bodysuit anyways, so who cares? Mm-hmm. But he does have the right structure for the bodysuit to actually
I'm totally...
I'm down with him as Hellboy. Now, rated R, you can do some stuff. I've read a lot of Hellboy. I'm kind of hoping they do more of like the actual Mike Mignola stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. I mean,
and if they're rebooting, I also kind of hope they do less of the BRPD stuff, and just some of like the Hellboy exploring like folk tales and some such, because that's what he does end up doing in the comics a lot. Like he goes after the Baba Yaga and all that jazz, and that has nothing huge to do with like the BRPD. That would just be nice to have like a Hellboy kind of origin-ish type
or
movie.
adventure movie where he's going and hunting these
as
monsters.
Opposed to like, you know, FBI and all these other people like involved, and he's like the special agent in charge, but can't really.
Yeah, because when I think about Hellboy, I don't think of him being tied down to stuff.
Right.
And like, those movies is like, you need to go solve, you know, the monster's attacking. Go fix it.
Yeah.
No. I'll do whatever I want whenever I want. And you kind of got that a little bit in the movie, but...
Yeah. And if you do watch the cartoons, even the cartoon movies that they did, I have a couple of them somewhere. Either way, like, that was the same thing where they'd be like, oh, there's trouble in this, like, remote village in Japan. And it's very mystical, like, can you go figure it out? And he'd just have to go and figure it out. Because no one in that tiny village in Japan really cares that he's Hellboy. Like, they're just like, oh, good, you're here to solve our problems. Like, you know, there's a mystical lady in the woods who keeps, like, threatening to kill us all. Can you go, like, deal with that?
Now, do you think there's room for it being an origin story? It
doesn't have to, like, and I mean, origin story, he shows up during World War II.
Right, because I think that...
So whatever at that point, but if it's kind of like his first adventures as he starts to get older, so like he's maybe not a teenager, but like early 20s Hellboy, I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I'm
not the jaded Ron Perlman guy. And again, I loved Hellboy 1 and I loved Hellboy 2.
Yeah.
I love those as movies.
I like those as more of like the
the
entirety of the movie, like the experience, rather than just like I liked it because Ron Perlman was in it.
Correct.
I liked it for everything else that was in that movie.
Yeah. Also, I thought 1 was just the way they worked the Nazis and stuff. It was just.
It was. I think that was a byproduct of that era when that movie was made.
It was, but at the same time, like the one villain who's pretty much sand on the inside with the 2 swords that come out of his wrists, and I'm just like. They had such good bad guys in that flick. And they were just expendable bad guys. They weren't like, you know, necessary.
Plot devices for everything
We need you for the next 6 movies. They were just like, here's some really cool bad guys that they get to fight. And then they get to kill them and or finish them off and or whatever. And no one will care.
Yeah, because Hellboy 2 really didn't have that many ties to the first one.
No, but it's the same with like the Kingsman movie. The Kingsman movie where all of a sudden, like he takes out most of the people in that movie, but they were still wicked bad guys, like chick with swords for legs.
Yes.
Like,
that's classic 90s comic book.
Or, you know, like the old James Bond where you have Jaws, you know, like guy with metal teeth, and that's his, like, claim to fame. Now you have this chick with, you know, sword feet. Give me cool villains that actually don't have to keep coming back.
I think, though...
That also make an impact in that movie.
Right.
Like Darth Maul, cool villain, no impact. Other than killing Qui-Gon Jinn.
Having that one really good scene with that one song.
Like, yeah, like that's it. Darth Maul could have had way more in that movie, made it way more impactful.
And they tried to claw Darth Maul out of that hole and making him a little more impactful in like the whole...
Well, and the Clone Wars have done a good job of that.
But not everyone's seen the Clone Wars.
Right.
Unfortunately. And I hope it's not... I hope it doesn't devolve into like the Marvel problem where their villains are just...
Yeah, especially Hellboy. He's got so much... Like, you can do all that folklore stuff. Like I said, Baba Yaga can be a kick-ass villain.
Yeah.
And not a villain, just something he has to go kill, and he has adventures on the way to... Like, you could almost make this an Indiana Jones flick.
Make a couple of them.
Well, you know, like, he starts here. His end goal is to kill this thing. What happens in between is a bunch of, like, little misadventures and, you know, plot twists and this and that and everything until he finally shows up at this one place to solve the problem. And it's not like they don't have a wealth of material to go off of.
Yeah, Hellboy's a pretty seasoned character.
Right. Now the only thing is, stylistically, how do they go?
I know, it's kind of hard to top Guillermo's...
Del Toro.
Especially Hellboy, too. Like,
yeah,
wow.
They went hard with that one.
They went hard on the drugs on that one. What are you talking about?
Well, Guillermo, yeah, he always does, though. That was after Pan's Labyrinth. Everything went to, like, after that. I could only imagine The Hobbit if they would have kept all of his stuff.
I feel like it would be
the look of Smog versus what we got versus what we would have gotten if Guillermo del Toro was still around.
I don't even like Smog. Smog.
It's spelled smog.
I know.
As in, like, you know, a smog.
S-O-G.
Smog.
S-M-O-G. No.
Smog of smoke.
Smog.
Hellboy.
A smog of smog.
I'm cautiously optimistic towards Hellboy.
Well, it's going to be a while. Probably like 2020 at the very latest.
Probably. Unless they've gotten it going. And I was talking about this with someone the other day, and same thing where you're going. Clearly, Guillermo del Toro's push to try and get this movie made showed the studio that people want Hellboy,
but
the studio just doesn't want Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, like, what is this telling of him and Ron Perlman? Right? Like, who's putting this out? Who's putting this out now? Like, it's obviously it's still the same studio who has the rights. Hellboy Studio.
Horror movie style.
Okay. Not super adventure-y, but doesn't matter.
More of a horror. That, you know what? And I'd be okay with that too. Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen.
Okay.
And is walking a razor edge between horror and comic book movie.
You know, it's kind of interesting to see that, because that's never really been...
No, that'd be a cool...
Because there's very little horror... Yeah. Actually, there's probably no horror comic book movies out there. And there's a ton. Like, even Batman can be kind of scary at sometimes, but...
Mm-hmm. Obviously rated R. Ron Perlman. Hellboy Studio.
Mine says?
Hellboy film. Production company. Revolution Studios.
So they do things. They're not...
Yeah. Distributed by Columbia Pictures.
Sure. So yeah, look forward to that coming soon. Could be good.
More news coming soon, like, you know, hopefully once they get things going.
Or, you know, script is written up. Usually the script gets written and then the title gets kind of...
Usually, so that's what I mean. Maybe they were working on a lot of this, and then...
And how much
I say Guillermo del Toro came out, a month ago, going like, who wants to see Hellboy 3?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yes!
Why? Yes.
And a bunch of people signed that thing and retweeted and tweeted out, and all of a sudden the you know, people are like, oh, okay, you want to see? We can
interest.
Make it happen.
There's interest?
Yeah. Like, we can make this happen. We were kind of working on it already a little bit.
Spoilers.
By the way, no Guillermo del Toro. And I thought even with Guillermo, the last 18,000 projects he's been attached to, he has yet to actually complete one.
Silent Hills?
And that wasn't his fault.
It wasn't his fault. No,
but
there's other things.
Like Haunted Mansion he was attached to.
Yeah.
Haven't heard a whisper.
What does he do nowadays?
But that's the thing. Like, Pacific Rim 2, he's taking a step back. You know, like, The Hobbit took a step back. Like, he keeps entering and then exiting, and I feel like the people producing this film, when he was like, I want to make another Hellboy, they're like, but do you really? Or do you want to start making Hellboy and then not make Hellboy? Because we're not paying you to do that.
At this point, he's become such a household name in the movie biz,
right?
That you can have him attached to something and he can just literally sit there.
Yes.
Hopefully.
And then sit on it for a while till they give him enough money, and then he can be like...
Which is why I'm glad Hideo Kojima is in charge of him
yes.
with Death Stranding and not the other way around, because at least Hideo will do something, but it'll take him like 10 years, but it'll still get done. And you'll know he'll be working on it. So he just needs the monster designs and the character designs from Del Toro, and then he could like... Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, good day with you, sir.
Yes.
Good day. I say good day.
I'm gonna make my messed up game here now. My babies. My dead babies.
I just need your character design.
It's really all
That's all Guillermo does.
Like, Silent Hills looked great.
Yes.
Silent Hills looked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of video game
news,
we're gonna move on to something that's probably not gonna be up for very much longer.
No, so
if you're watching this now,
which is May 12th,
Wait, no, it wasn't today. It was tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow.
So
today.
If you're watching this on the repeat of today on May 13th.
If you're watching the
rerun, now is the time.
It should be.
Yes.
Alan Wake was an excellent game for the Xbox 360.
Loved that game.
It was great when it was ported to the PC.
Yep.
It's still a great game.
Yep.
And so, unfortunately, the music is kind of sort of one of the
music licenses.
One of the center.
A couple of the music licenses.
Yeah, so it was like a sort of a centerpiece of that game, where it was like sort of a side. It was a character in and of itself. Either way, the licensing for the music is running out, as most video game stuff happens to do. Well, it happens more often than you think it does.
I'm trying to think of what music they're talking about, because it's clearly not the music written for the game.
Well, it might be. It might be, because it depends on who they license the music out to. Like, it could be music written for the game, but they could have licensed that to a different studio.
Maybe.
But there was also, and it could just be even one track.
I was going to say, if it's one track that plays on a radio, because that's what I'm trying to think of. Like, on the radios it played, was there a tune? Because
that was a big thing with, like, Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
When that was getting ported back and back, like, to everything. Grand Theft Auto 3 is basically on every platform.
Yeah. But
the soundtrack has changed because licenses will expire.
And that I get with licensed music. Normally when someone, composes music for a game,
right,
that's stuck to the game, it's good.
Yes. But it could be even just, like you said, like a song on the radio that you hear. And there's a ton of license.
Sunshine, lollipops, and then all of a sudden it's...
Yeah. So instead of going back and reworking the game to kind of remove those songs, it'll probably take a lot more manpower to do something like that. In lieu of that, they're going to put the game up on sale for
2 days, 48 hours.
For which you have ample time to buy Alan Wake as well as the American Nightmare DLC. Even though American Nightmare DLC has no
nothing to do with
it has no issues with the music license, but in honor of that, you can get both of those for I think under $5, right?
They said $3 for Alan Wake.
So $5 for probably $5 or $6 for both of them.
Which is hilarious because Alan Wake we just looked, and that's Canadian, so at $3 will probably end up being $5-6, whatever it ends up being. But Alan Wake on Steam right now in Canada is $33.
Right. So the sale has, again, like we said earlier, sale hasn't started quite yet until you watch the repeat.
Yes, the sale starts May 13th at 11 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock a.m. our time.
Yes. So this is your opportunity to play.
And our time is mountain time.
This is real time.
We are mountains.
Ahead. We're streets ahead.
Streets ahead.
We're streets ahead.
I just bought Season 5 of Community on Google Play.
So yes, no, this is probably your best and only time to really, I guess, own these excellent games.
I'm gonna buy it because I have it for we were just talking when we first saw the news article. We were like, meh, whatever.
I remember Alan Wake was the sole reason why I bought an Xbox 360, and then promptly played Alan Wake, and then sat on an Xbox 360 for God knows how long.
I know, and I just finished saying Alan Wake's probably the only reason, if I got a hankering to play, would be the only reason my Xbox got plugged in at this point, like my Xbox 360. So
make sure you buy it, tie it to your account, because once they pull it, you won't be able to buy it, but if it's...
You can re-download.
Yes. So you have purchased the license, I guess.
Yes, for your game.
To your account.
And it's a great game. If you've never played Alan Wake... Oh my gosh,
it is. Both it and its DLC are like Streets Ahead. It really was Streets Ahead at that time. It still kind of is, and it's kind of why
atmospheric game.
It's kind of why we still talk about Remedy as a studio, because they can make excellent stuff, and then they poop out Quantum Break, and then we kind of look at it and go like, you guys can do so much better than this.
We can do Alan Wake.
But Max Payne, you guys have done Max Payne. Like, Max Payne is awesome. Like, what have you guys... It's kind of sad to see that them not follow up with any single player game in a long time. Like, Quantum Break, I think, was fun. My understanding is that it was fun for like 2 or 3 hours, but then it just kind of devolved into the repetitive gameplay.
Yeah.
And I think they really banked on a lot of the I guess FMV stuff that they filmed. And that probably took up a lot of money. Let's be frank.
Quantum Break, Alan Wake, Max Payne 1 and 2.
Like, they've made Max Payne 1 and 2, guys. Like, that's the game. Those are the games that pioneered third-person action games.
Oh, for sure.
And then you have Alan Wake, which takes those. Okay, the gunplay in Alan Wake leaves a little bit to desire.
But that was never.
It's not the focal point of those games. It's the storytelling that is so strong in Alan Wake. And so
considering it's still all over their website.
They should. That game is.
Oh, it's an iOS game. I'm like, why can I click official site and it brings me back to digital games?
If they have an iOS game, it's a digital game.
Yes.
So you don't buy physical iOS games.
Well, but so is American Nightmare.
Yeah. So
it's just digital.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, go get it tomorrow. Or if you're crazy enough to buy now, you can buy now. We're not gonna stop you.
If you really want to give Remedy that extra, $30.
Like, all the power to you. Like, they definitely deserve it. But
for that game, yes.
I paid full price and I still don't regret it, even though I bought an Xbox 3. Okay, that part I regret it. But
I got some good hockey out of that Xbox. Until they stopped making decent hockey games.
They haven't made a good hockey game in a long time.
Well, not for the Xbox 360. They have to get to 1 or a PlayStation 4.
No PC for
no
you.
PC hockey game.
Yeah. So moving on to another piece of video game news.
A PC game, in fact.
PC game.
The Secret World was an MMO that tried to come out a long time ago, actually. Now,
yes.
Based in kind of a Lovecraftian world, where the world is ending. You
Yeah.
know, you've got your Cthulhu type creatures and all that kind of stuff that are the old god people who are, kind of at the back end of all these stories, and you have to become part of one of the different sects. So there's vampires and werewolves. And
so how long has this quote unquote MMO been in development?
I forgot how long this game's been out. We can see though, because I own it.
You own it.
I owned it.
Because this is...
Because now it's back. Now it's actually on Steam as Secret World Legends, which is what our news is about today.
So
let's see if we can find The Secret World. The Secret World came out in 2012.
2012.
So 5 years now it's been out.
Yep.
It was a massive multiplayer game.
So they're stripping all of the...
So yes, Legends is apparently taking out all the MMO stuff. Because, to be fair, no one plays this game anymore. It... And again, it was never anything, crazy good to look at. Mm-hmm. It was basically a...
Well, I mean, it's a 5-year-old game. Like, even if you look at something...
game...
Final Fantasy XIV, that's been in development for a long time. And they finally dropped PS3 support for that game, luckily, thankfully, so they can move on. But even still, it shows its age.
And that's where I think doing an MMO, because you're expecting them to last a long time, you want to try and do an art style that lasts. That's why I do still like World of Warcraft, is because it is their art style. Mm-hmm. So even if it is still kind of blocky, you're like, oh, it's what the orcs look like. It's cool. Yeah,
and they've tried to patch it up with a fine coat of paint every here and there.
They try and repaint it every once in a while. This game, though, if you're looking at screenshots, it's a fairly rudimentary, PC game. But yeah, you get to fight things like Cthulhu and all that kind of stuff. So it was the story that was really enticing to people. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're turning it into a
free-to-play single-player
game, and the free-to-play part kind of worries me.
Microtransactions.
Because it's going to be very microtransaction heavy.
Get your loot boxes here.
But the fact that they now have this giant MMO world...
Mm-hmm. Which is sort of what I kind of wanted out of Final Fantasy XIV before they actually put the time and effort into making an actual MMO.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of the few people that's actually played Final Fantasy XIV before it actually became good. Yeah. Man, that game was hot garbage, but they had a great world to play in as a single player.
So Secret World definitely has some cool stuff going for it.
Yeah.
So I think, if they can actually turn around and do a pretty good single player story... Mm-hmm. They've got themselves a fairly good...
Right. Yeah, I don't know how...
Good game on their hands.
I think what confuses me more is that it's a free-to-play single-player game.
Right, and I think the reason they're doing that is for everybody because you bought the Secret World. Mm-hmm. And then it was one of those ones where you could play free, mm-hmm. or you could pay monthly If you paid monthly, you got the extra, it's
stuff. You got the extra.
So again, it was a free to play.
Costumes or whatever.
It was a free to play MMO that you paid the initial money for to get.
Mm-hmm.
So those of us who already own it, I think that's kind of why it's gone that route. Is there's so many people who already have bought it at some point where they're like, we don't want to really gyp you and say that it's going to cost this much. So just the game's going to be free. And story elements are going to maybe be released, like maybe even chapters are released.
They might still have a lot of unused content.
Sure.
That they were going to tailor for an MMO.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're doing. I don't know if this is a hard reboot of the whole thing, where it's just like you start and it's like you're a character starting in this world.
We can take a look at it later if you.
We can but I just thought it was very cool that they're really like they've gone from MMO and sucked it straight into single player.
I still think Final Fantasy XIV should have done that.
Well, what was it? What was that game that...
The Matrix Online. I see where this is going.
No, there was a game that was an action game that did that. They actually went from... They were originally designing an MMO.
Yeah.
And they pulled it back once they were looking at the money that it would cost and all this other
service costs.
And they're like, nope, let's just make a single player game. And it was a fantasy game that quite a few famous people were working on. I own it, and I forgot what it's called, and it's left my mind. But they did it, but they did it before the game initially came out. This is just cool that they had an MMO, and they're like, say goodbye, MMO, and like now enter characters.
Now, there probably is still some online aspects to this game.
I'm assuming yes.
Because they can't just ditch all of that code out.
Secret World Legends is a story-driven shared world action RPG.
So there is multiplayer stuff still in the game.
Which is, that's fitting. I'm okay with that part.
And here's the thing about like shared world MMO. Like MMO but not MMO.
Yeah.
You can play Final Fantasy XIV. You can play a lot of like World of Warcraft stuff, I bet, by yourself. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of story stuff to play by yourself. So this is probably going that route too.
Yeah.
Where you can still have, say, a PvP environment still.
Yeah. If you really, yeah. So it'll, deep character customization, 100+ hours of free stories and gameplay.
Sure. That sounds a lot like what MMOs are doing nowadays too.
Well, other than...
charging you.
Other than World of Warcraft. Because World of Warcraft is still...
very heavily multiplayer based, or is
and charges you monthly fees.
Yeah. Like when I played the new Final Fantasy XIV, I felt like I was paying for a single player adventure, and that's kind of where I like drew the line. I was like, you know what, I'm having a good time, but I feel like I'm giving you guys $15 a month for. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm. For it's a good single player experience, but at the same time, I've bought the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I should have to pay anymore to play with like the 3 other people I see every once in a while. At least World of Warcraft, you still end up.
And I think the reason why I jumped back into Final Fantasy XIV is because my account was still tied to that original copy I bought that one day.
Yep.
So they're like, you can still play. You just give us money. I'm like,
that's how World of Warcraft does it too. They're like, hey.
Remember that you bought the.
Remember you have this game? Because my subscription only lapsed 2 or 3 times over the time that World of Warcraft's been like around. But those times where it does, they poke you and go like, hey, do you want like 7 free days? Because we'll give them to you.
Return.
Like, they are the best drug dealers in the history of mankind because they're like, oh, we see you've almost kicked your habit. Would you like to try again just a little bit? We've updated it.
Square's a lot more gentler than that. They call it the Welcome Home campaign. Where you get to play for,
Ours is called like Scroll of Resurrection, essentially. And you used to be able to, I'm not sure if you still can with Warcraft, but you used to be able to send them to your friends if they hadn't played in like 2 months.
Oh, that's
dirty. You could send your friend a Scroll of Resurrection so they would get like 6 free days or whatever.
That's dirty.
And it was just like, hey man, I see you, you finally got clean, you're back on the wagon. Want to come join me in Azeroth? But yeah, I think this is cool, pulling back from a like massive multiplayer to obviously I can play single player,
but it still have people around me.
And still have people around if need be.
Like it's like a chat room on steroids.
Essentially Guild Wars.
Oh my gosh, Guild Wars.
Because the first Guild Wars, that's what it was. Yes. You were in Hub.
And I think Guild Wars 2 is still kind of like that.
I never got into it because I went from World of Warcraft, where I was like And that was initial World of Warcraft, where there were how many people and this many servers.
Queues everywhere.
Well, no, so it wasn't even queues that you were worried about. It was you'd walk into a city and it looked like a city. Because there were so many people. Mm-hmm. You're just like, yeah!
To an extent, Guild Wars still had that.
But then I'd go to Guild Wars. But even World of Warcraft, when you were out adventuring, you'd see other adventurers. Yeah. Guild Wars, you were in your main hub city, and you saw a bunch of people, which was cool. But as soon as you exited...
Instance.
You were by yourself.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I feel lonely now. In an MMO, I should never feel this alone.
And I think that's a byproduct of it being a free-to-play MMO.
And it was, but back then, they were kind of the first people to really play that game. So now that this is doing, honestly, the same thing Guild Wars, like, it sounds like the same thing.
Yeah.
It'll be like, oh, now I know what I'm expecting going in. So yes, I'll play it as a single-player game myself, thank you very much.
So yeah, like, they'll probably just do it with lots of instances where it cuts on a lot of server space.
Sure. Sure. So I'm intrigued.
Look forward to that.
Yes.
We'll take a look at it maybe later sometime. But yeah, that's all we got.
That's it.
Just us two ideas. Just two fools around a table. What are you looking for?
I don't know, something to entertain people with.
Loud noises.
Either who. That's it from us today.
Pokemon.
Yeah, we can peruse the Pokemon.
The newest card game.
Guardian set. Rising.
Some cool cards in here.
Yeah. Ooh,
I could talk about that for hours, but you don't want to hear that.
They might.
Well, depends.
Either who, folks. You can check us out at barrelrollnews.com.
You can check a look at our social media sites there, our Facebook page, Twitter page, our respective Steam accounts are up there as well.
Also, our Patreon page, where you can donate money our way, throw money our way to make us do stupid stuff. Because I'm drinking water right now.
It could be something funnier than that.
It could be something much funnier than that maybe we can't understand the label of.
We need to do that. I think we should just do that, just to say, like, this is what you can get.
As a promo?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should look into that.
Okay, we'll buy some stupid...
We'll just go to, like, the Chinese market or something like that.
That's essentially what I was thinking. If I can't read the label...
Yeah.
Make it on screen.
Dead.
Computer.
R.I.P.
Computer for, like, fries.
R.I.P. Rip. You can also find our Discord channel on our website.
Yep.
Go log in there. If you have any, we can just chat with each other.
Keep y'all updated, yo.
Yeah. So, if you have any questions, you can fire us there too.
There's
send it to us on email. Send it to us on Twitter.
There's
Facebook.
a little section that says "Ask BRNN." You can put questions there. There's
you know what? Don't feel like that. You are also like you can just ask us everywhere. We will. Yes.
You can
field us questions.
Yeah.
But I think that's it.
It
is.
Now.
Yeah. For now.
Stay tuned for the post-credit show.
We talk about movies we watched, games we've done, played.
Games we've done, played.
Y'all talk about the moving lights there?
And other stuff we done do, too.
It's witchcraft.
So check us out in about 5 minutes when we do that. Or if you're watching the rerun episode,
do that again.
Right away.
Do that.
Because we can pretty much just start the next stream.
Double stream.
Awesome.
We
will see you soon.
See you in a bit.
Bye.